Oh, we've got Sebastian in. Right, let's give it another 2 minutes or so, and then we can start the show, as they would say. So, yeah. Hey, Sebastian, you all right?
Hey,
How's it going? Faizan, how are you, mate? Let me just give a little.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Hi, James. Nice to see you all.
Yes, absolutely. It's always nice to see the community members. Oh wow, Simone is finally he switched on his camera. I was saying hi, but then it's like I thought you were you were ignoring me. I thought
Oh,
maybe
no, no,
not.
I was just getting some
I know.
milkshake from the kitchen.
Oh, okay. Fair play, fair play. Yeah, no, no, absolutely. That is necessary. Is that tea or coffee? I missed that. Are you
A milkshake.
a milkshake? Okay. I'm sure there's a coffee mixed in there, but yeah.
No, I've been awake for a while now.
You've been awake. Well, you know what? You're never too awake for a coffee. That's clearly I'm a coffee nut.
You of coffee.
So you I just had a double espresso myself, so that's why I'm all lively. So don't mind me.
I'm very
Um,
picky with coffee. Yeah.
yeah. Um, okay. So let's just get this started. I know people will come in time, but thanks all for coming in for another Show Us What You Got session. We do record these. The last one was not, there weren't many people, so it wasn't worth the recording. But the one before that, it's my fault. I have not put it in the media, so I will put that right after this, along with this one, in the media channel. So basically these sessions are where people come in and show exactly what they're working on in Cardano. Like showcase what they're actually working on right now or any improvements because sometimes we get a lot of people who have come with their projects on the first show us what you got session, and then they go, well, look at all the improvement I've made. So it's always good to see the work you know moving along in time and just seeing how far they've come from the first one, the second one. So without me taking too much of everyone's time now, I'd like to introduce you guys, or do you guys want to start introducing James, Simon, Alex? Do you guys want to sort of introduce yourselves and what you guys are doing exactly? This is for you guys to really showcase what you guys are doing. So it's not really me to talk. So I'll be quiet now, and I'll let James. Do you want to take it on first, Jim?
certainly happy to start just with, round of introductions. It's nice to see familiar faces here. I know Simon, Alex, Faizan, Sebastian from different work we've all done together. And thanks for hosting this. Are we starting with a full check-in round or who else is on the agenda today?
I think we are. I think we're all here. I mean, people do come in as time, but this is being recorded, so absolutely, whoever. If James, you want to start, and then Simone, and then Alex and Faizan, if you guys have something to show, then come on in. This is an open meeting for whatever you guys want to show that you guys are. This is your moment, so let's go for it.
Cool. Any objections to me kicking things off then, guys? Jump in. All right, so before I share screen, Gimbal Labs got a grant from Intersect to keep Dandelion running earlier this year. And Dandelion is one of the things we've been doing since the very earliest days at Gimbal Labs. For anybody who doesn't know, the co-founders of Gimbal Labs met during Fund 2 of Project Catalyst. I was one of them. I was very interested in the education perspective of how blockchain and especially on-chain governance, which is a really big topic this week. More on that in just a second. I was really interested in how education would influence all of this. I met Roberto Marano, who is the architect of Dandelion. He's a DevOps expert. He helped to build Yoroi Wallet. And now he spends most of his time working at Cardano Foundation on different deployments, all sorts of projects. So if you've used the Cardano ballot, or if you've seen the new Blockchain Explorer that CF released, he's played a critical role in those projects, as well as a lot of what happens under the hood. And that's what Dandelion is. For these last 4 years, we've been providing infrastructure as a free community service. And this comes in 2 parts. One, we keep a public repo up to date with Kubernetes documents that you need to spin up your own infrastructure. And 2, we keep a public deployment of all those endpoints so that people can just get started building for free. And around hard forks, we always get a lot of attention because people drop into the Gimbal Labs Discord and they say, why is Dandelion down? And, you know, the first answer I want to say is, well, because it's free, damn it. And it takes a lot of work to keep that up to speed. But also it does take some effort to make sure infrastructure is running. I'm sure a lot of people have run into different bumps in the road this week. But proud to report that pre-prod has been fully synced in the Conway era for the last week or so. And we're just waiting on our servers to sync up as of this moment to make sure everything's live once again on mainnet. And so part of what this grant has helped us to fund is just that upgrade work, making sure that Dandelion endpoints are ready for Conway. And then we've allocated part of the funding just to keep the servers running for free. As nice as it is to run a free service and maybe not to make income, it's a tough pill to swallow to spend money supporting the community, which is what we've been doing for years. Roberto's really been paying out of his own pocket to keep servers running. So this allows him to get the servers we need to keep these community services running viably. And we even have enough funding to scale those servers as needed. And he'll be monitoring that. So I'll show you a little bit more about just how we're using those funds in just a second. Now, on the other side of things, even as Dandelion is that technical infrastructure that people need, we've been working really hard to build out governance infrastructure for this era. So obviously we flipped the switch as a community on Sunday. The Conway era is now live. It's possible to register as a DREP, and at the next hard fork a few months from now, it's going to be possible to make claims on the 1.5 billion ADA treasury, right? And so that's a compelling story, obviously. It's why a lot of us are here. And we've been thinking for years that that's really just the beginning. After it's possible to manage a global treasury with built-in transactions on the Cardano blockchain, what happens next? Where do funds go after that? Is that the end of the story? And our answer is no, of course that's not the end of the story. We have to look at, okay, what happens after people are given a grant from the Treasury? And so Catalyst has been a chance to practice with this. We've been doing this for the last few funding rounds, really ramping up this work at Gimbal Labs right now of after getting a Catalyst proposal funded, subdividing it into the specific work we're going to do, giving people a chance to make commitments to work, to earn rewards for that, and ideally to build out an on-chain credential that can be used in further commitments. That's what we're working on right now. That's what we're piloting, like I said, at Gimbal Labs. And that's what we're also using to distribute the funds from this Intersect grant. And so I've shared this before in some brief videos I posted on the Intersect Discord. But right here, you can see that we have a prototype of a contribution platform for Dandelion, and it's Conway enabled. Excellent. The thing I ran out of time to do was to drop the funds back into this treasury, just to be safe. On Sunday morning, I pulled out all but just a tiny bit of ADA and gimbals from this treasury, just in case the hard fork broke our application. I'm happy to report the app works. It's just early in the morning for me, and I didn't want to race the clock while I was jumping into this meeting to move 64,000 ADA back into this treasury. I hope you'll forgive me. Right after this meeting, when I'm not racing to make a demo and I can make sure that I am properly signing and submitting the transaction, you will see at this link that there's 64,000 ADA that will be in this treasury. Well, what's it for? Well, like I already said, one purpose is to keep Dandelion servers running, and another is to help people understand what Dandelion can do. And so that's what we'll be doing over these next months. A lot of the upgrade work is already done. And what Roberto and I decided is that we'll just fold in his compensation for upgrading the network into monthly payments for keeping the servers running. And so Roberto will take 2,000 ADA per month just to keep the infrastructure running, right? At current market value, that's 600 USD, right? Which gives him enough bandwidth to run enough servers that Dandelion runs dependably and to compensate him for the time he spent to keep the thing up to date, to not only navigate these upgrades for Chang hard fork number 1, but he's going to have to do it all again in a few months at the next hard fork. Now, obviously, this would not be payable because the funds aren't in the treasury. But like I said, just was being cautious and didn't want to race to send off this transaction. And I'll have that up to date right after this meeting. But we can do a demo with this other one. Suppose that I earn 50 ADA for giving this talk today. It seems fair, $16 for a half-hour talk. So here's how it works. I have a token in my wallet that allows me to contribute. Let's take a look at it. So here's my Eternal wallet, and I have this Dandelion contributor token. We didn't worry too much about the art, but just enough to give me something symbolic. And like I said, this is a prototype. What this allows me to do is to make a claim on this treasury right here. Let's try it. And of course, let's see here. There's all likelihood that a demo is not going to work today for any number of reasons, but let me just.
That's why we call it a demo, eh?
Right?
We are ready to.
Yeah, actually, again, so you see how there's 2 fund UTXOs right here. I'm not going to be able to do this part of the demo live. Once again, just I'm sorry that I ran out of minutes this week to safely get everything up to speed. The problem is this 65 eta is split into 2 UTXOs. And I think that neither of them has the 50 eta necessary to meet this requirement. So that's going to be fixed right after this. We could even do some live coding. That's one of our favorite things to do over at Gimbal Labs, is fix these things live. But just to stay at a high level, you can kind of get a picture of how this works. Now, let me show you a little transaction history right here. Okay. So what happens is when I make a commitment, and you can see a string of these have been used, but here's a good example from the Gimbal Labs treasury, right? And another thing you should know about this is that we can create a unique instance of these treasury and project management contracts for many different groups, right? Whether it's an organization, a DAO, a group of people working together. And we're using this at Gimbal Labs as well. You can see here as well, I just emptied out this treasury to be hard fork safe. We're going to drop some Catalyst funds back in here now that it is up to date. And there's 2 hard fork test transactions ready to go. Maybe one of these will work, because yeah, you see this one only has 1 UTXO. This commitment should work fine. So same idea. Yeah. Let me just change what I'm sharing on the screen so you can see the transaction, because I really did want you to see this. Stop share. A section. Oh, it doesn't let me do that. All right, let's just look at this transaction for just a second. I don't know why that's. Is that working? Can you guys see that?
Yeah. Nope. Just went away.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I just see your like faces.
Let me try this one more time. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So if you look at this transaction, there's a few really important things happening here, okay? For inputs, we are taking funds from the treasury. Here's the 30 ADA and 75 gimbals that are in the treasury. And we're also referencing a list of projects that have been approved, okay? Now go back to this question, what happens after a Cardano treasury disbursement or after a Catalyst project is funded? Well, next, a smaller subset of people, right? Think about how the Cardano logo gives all of us a roadmap for what we're supposed to do, right? In the middle, there's this one circle, and then it radiates out to smaller and smaller circles. And that's exactly what this model does. We have the chance to approve lists of projects with specified funding amounts. And that's all that can be committed to. I can't just come to this treasury and say, give me all of those 30 ADA. I have to say, let me commit to this specific project with these specific rewards attached to it. And in the output, that's what we see. Going to a different validator address is the reward, 20 ADA and 20 gimbals. But there's also this thing happening. The token that I'm using to commit to this task in the first place is also being locked with my commitment. What are the implications of this? If I make a commitment and I needed this token in order to make that commitment, and it gets locked up, well, the logic follows that now I can't make another commitment until I've completed this one. And that's an important part of our design. Yeah, Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, it's really nice to see and being just, having experienced this firsthand. It's a, I would say, a real innovation happening just in front of our eyes, What I wanna point out is like here at this moment is that this really nicely goes along with the work that I'm doing. As you know, I've been paid to solve some problems, and our first output as developer advocates is called contribution ladder. And just doing research for this project, I find out that one of the important elements there is called contributor agreement. And the contributor agreement is a sort of each of there's like a little bit more layers to that. So one idea is that project maintainers switch roles, and sometimes they do write code, and sometimes what they do, they guide other contributions from open source volunteers and stuff. And so if we could have this sort of thing attached to like this role of trusted committer who approves other people's pull requests, reviews code, and just basically guides people who want to start contributing. This could be like one of outlooks on paid open source model that's being discussed by open source office. Yeah, but the core like would be a good thing to first think about what the contributor agreement should cover, and how do we make that, there's in no way conflict of a sense that there's the commitment that exists, and then there's two people who disagree on whatever it was like, and who presses the button, who has the signing keys, and how to like this decision, like others have to be able to look at this decision and say, yeah, this is sound.
I'm so excited to see what happens when this tech is just in your hands, to keep running the R&D that you're already doing and to relate it to all that research. Thanks, partner. And to really piggyback on what Alex is saying, at Gimbal Labs, what we're already pioneering, and really where all of this tooling is going, is that the same people who are earning these rewards and making these commitments are deciding what's on the list of projects in the first place, right? It's not like one group of people decides what work happens and another does it. No, that's collaborative at both stages. A group of people gets together, they look with clear eyes on the amount of funding they have, right? And it's never going to be enough. You could always ask for more funding, sure. But given what's here, how do we subdivide it into the most important work to be done? And it's the very same people making those decisions and then doing it. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in just a second. But I'm glad we had a chance to look at this transaction together, because I really want you to notice this part, okay? My contributor token is moving through a series of transactions, commitments, and then, like you'll see in just a moment, completions of those commitments. And this builds a track record. This builds a way to report in a very straightforward way on how it's going with any sized pool of funding. It doesn't matter how much. Did you do a good job with 1,000 ADA, or did you do a good job with 100,000 ADA? It's the same question, and we can look at the data and make further decisions. And what we're building towards is a way for people, for DREPs and anybody who's voting on treasury proposals, to have some real evidence to look at. Hey, these people asked for a little bit of funding at this date, and since then, here's what they accomplished with it. And because of that evidence, we can feel confident raising the stakes a bit, thinking about, okay, it looks very clear that this group is ready to take on a greater amount of funding. I don't know if ultimately that's going to become part of how Cardano governance works, but we're working really hard to make sure that it's an option and that people can look at that kind of data, that record of transactions like this. So I'm going to sign this transaction to finish it off, and then we'll see the results of it. My Eternal just closed. That's why you lost the screen share. So let's jump back over to here, where in a parallel wallet, and you can see now there's, oh, no, that was the one commitment from before. This is going to update. Now, let's see if that transaction went through. It looks like it did. So I have another wallet that's in charge of reviewing. This one has a token called the reviewer token. Okay, it's a different role. And so now I'm just going to reset this page. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to reset this page. You can now see there's one less project in the treasury, but there's a new commitment here. And now when I connect with, Zoom is doing that thing where some of the buttons don't work. Yeah, there we go. So now when I connect my wallet with my reviewer token, I can see in the reviewer dashboard, oh, there's that task I just committed to. And this is a minimum amount of data just because it's a prototype, but you can imagine that a reviewer might want to see more info than this. And we're building that right now. But for now, let's just have the reviewer distribute this transaction. So this one, we're unlocking the rewards, 20 ADA, 20 gimbals, and we're unlocking the contributor token from the escrow contract where it's been held. The reviewer is signing off on this transaction, which creates another data set. It's not just about who does the work, but like Alex said a few minutes ago, who decides? Who says the work is complete? And different people have different standards. Different people have ultimately different track records of kind of reliability and honesty. And just like we're going to be able to look at how individual contributors are doing, we're going to be able to look at how reviewers are doing, making sure that work gets done. Do they check for evidence? If they say something is done, is that a meaningful attestation? We can only see that over time, right? A lot of people can make claims and hypotheses, but it's a different story to look at the data and say, hey, this person in this organization, it turns out they do a really good job facilitating projects. And you can imagine this reviewer token holder being a project manager, for example. So they're going to sign off. And when this transaction is successful, the contributor gets their rewards and they get their token back so that they can make another contribution in the future, and the cycle continues. So that's the demo of the contribution prototype right here. The one thing that's missing is the funds in the treasury. I'll drop a link in the Intersect Discord later today when these treasuries are loaded back up like they're supposed to be, just so you can check that and you can see this is not just an empty demo. But before I move on to the next part, does anybody have any questions or just big ideas about anything I just shared?
So first of all, I think this is really, really exciting. And second, you said that you can only have one commitment. What do you mean with that?
So this is a big design decision we made as we built out this system, okay? And there's different ways to build this platform, but what we decided is that focus is a privilege. Being able to focus on something is a gift. And ask anybody why they don't get done the things they expected to get done in a week or a month and a year, right? And often it's because I'm doing too many things at once, okay? And I come to this as an educator. I used to teach kids, and then after that, I taught teachers. And anytime somebody said that magic word to me, multitasking, I would stop what I was doing to explain to them that multitasking is a myth. It's a debunked myth. Your brain, right? You are similar to being drunk when you are multitasking in terms of the productivity hit your brain takes. Okay. And this is why we decided to build a system that allows people to commit to doing one thing at a time. Outside this system, we can't stop you stop you from doing 25 other things, but at least inside this system, we can say, hey, make one commitment, do that thing.
Right, but like, what is the scope of this one commitment? Does it mean I can only have one grant? What does it mean?
Excellent. Okay, no, it's think of this more like a sprint task. If you're working in agile development, for example, think of this more like one step of a project that a team of people is working on together. Okay. In terms of the grant, we can put a pool of grant funds in a treasury. Hey, these 3 people are working together. They have funding of 50,000 ADA to accomplish this big project, right? And now they're going to break it down into parts. Together, they make a list of projects to which each other can commit, and then they start working. And anybody who's ever used a Kanban board will tell you, right? You've got your to do, doing, and done columns, right? When that middle column has just one thing in it, you are moving, you're getting things done. Right from the to-do column, I'm going to move one task card to doing. I'm going to do it. It's going to be done. I move that to done. I repeat. And once I'm doing that, I have successfully gamified my life to the point where I can get anything done in a week, a month, or a year, right? But when my doing column has 15 task cards in it, I'm going to wake up and procrastinate. How the hell do I choose which one of those 15 tasks to work on today, right? So this is really the scope of what it allows. No, we don't want to say like, hey, go build a new version of the Cardano node, right? And we're going to put a big price tag on it, and you got to only focus on that for a year. No, 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 no. Go build this one component of this project. Take 6 hours or a day or 2 to do it. Finish it, and then move on to the next thing.
All right. So, but I mean, the way I understand it right now, I think there is a problem with that, because like if you have 5 people at a project, not all 5 of them can work on one task, right?
No, but each of the 5 can each commit to one subtask.
All right, that is, I figured that was the case.
Yeah, this is the key part. No, so what gets locked is my contributor token. So now I'm stuck working on this one thing, right? But your contributor token, you can commit to something else and work on that.
That explains a lot. Yeah, thanks.
Got it. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, we discussed this before, I think, a little bit, and just the nature of some things. I think it boils down to the contractual agreement in the end again, and the process by which, like, the contribution is like the definition of done, right? So, I mean, sometimes it's nice to break things into smaller chunks, and so I see that this system is designed for the small chunks and for being able to complete the task within like couple of days, I'd say. Because for me personally, during 1 week I try to work on 3 things, and I know that I will fail at one. So I take 3, I do 2, and I'm good with 2 things. But I need to commit to 3 to do 2. I don't know if it makes sense.
One of the things we've seen in early testing of this is that the way people end up using it is they actually commit to the task after they're pretty much done with it. And we'll see how people continue to start using this, right? I'm not sure if we're ever going to get to that perfect state where people are committing to something and then working on only that and then being approved, right? Maybe there'll be pockets of that, but it's more likely, right, that people are going to say, okay, well, we approved this list of projects. I'm going to tinker with this one a little bit and tinker with that one. And then when I'm pretty sure I've got it done, I'll make the commitment here. We'll see. And there might be 16 other ways that people start to use this. Simon, what do you think?
Yeah, I still have a bit of a problem with that. Like, I spent quite a bit of time on Kanban boards, and to me, the reason you can have multiple things in the in progress stage is, let's say, I'm in order to get this one task done, I have to get feedback from someone else. So now it takes me maybe 2 or 3 days to get feedback, and this task is still in progress. It has already started. It's not done yet, but it's in progress, and I can't do anything about it, right? So now I want to eventually work in those 3 days on something else, right? What do I do then?
I love this. And this is where now that we have this baseline technology, accomplishing what you just described is really just a UI problem, okay? Because think about this. Yes, it's one task. I'm doing a development task. I'm going to start it. Then I need to get feedback. I await that feedback, and then I keep going on the task and I finally finish it, right? That's common. That has to happen. That's how teams work. Well, in this UI, maybe what we just described is not one project, but 3, right? Do the first phase of work, done. Get feedback, that's somebody else's task that they commit to. Okay, I'm going to quickly give this person feedback, and that's a separate task. And then once that's done, that unblocks the final wave of work. Now, will it actually be used like that? Maybe, maybe not. But would it be possible to layer some UI on here that uses the exact contracts under the hood and facilitates that process? Absolutely. And that'll be a really fun thing to build together. And this is, if you've spent any time at Gimbal Labs, you've probably heard us talking about headless applications, right? What's on the blockchain is one thing. It's an ultimate source of truth. However, different applications can be written on top of the same set of validators, delivering different user experiences depending on what makes the most sense to people. So we can play around with that. Nobody's going to get it right the first time, right? Thinking about how we subdivide projects, but we have the ability to keep prototyping very quickly and to try these things out. Now, the other thing, this relates to something Alex mentioned a few minutes ago, but it also relates here to Simon's example, is that this can be subdivided recursively as many layers down as we want to. All right. So at a high level, again, maybe you've got a Catalyst funded proposal or a Cardano treasury withdrawal. And you're going to break that up into projects, but maybe those projects have to be further split up into tasks. Okay, right? Well, we can take a high level pot of funds. We can make it so that the commitment to this bigger treasury leads to the funding of a sub treasury, which is just a copy of an instance of this, just drilling down, right? And we can subdivide until we have commitments that people can, right, take on in whatever short amount of time. All of that's built. The contracts are already built for this, but we're working right now to make it so that people can spin up a new treasury instance by clicking a button and signing a transaction. Okay, so this is just, this again, this is a UI project on top of what's already built. But that concept of recursive subdivision is going to be built in at every layer.
Amazing.
Okay, so I have the other thing about multiple contributions or multiple commitments is I've got my contributor token for this platform and I have a different one over here. So it goes without saying, I could make one commitment to my work on Dandelion and another concurrent commitment to my work at Gimbal Labs. So even though at the single organization level, commit to one thing at a time, if you're a distributed worker like many of us are, you can commit to one project on this team, you could be working on that, and one project on this other team, you could be working on that. All right. And so we haven't fully solved the focus problem, but we're not like completely cutting off people from flexibility of being on multiple teams because we know that things move asynchronously. So we already have that ability. Now, this still is a prototype. How do we get to production for this? Earlier, Alex mentioned the idea of facilitation, reviewers. Who decides that somebody is ready to make a commitment to a project or to help decide what's on the list of projects? All of this is at the intersection of getting things done and governance. And the way we're going to get there is with the full Andamio platform. Now, this phrase right here is a play on the term learn to earn. Learn to earn, I'm sure you've heard it, right? It rhymes. It's an awful idea. When you pay people to learn, they don't actually pay attention to what they're learning and they lose the ability to learn deeply. They're in it to collect those rewards. A lot of people have built proofs of concepts for learn to earn education platforms. And this is the very same thing as the 6th grade math teacher who gives 11-year-olds chocolate every time they solve a math problem. I promise you those kids are not learning enough math. They're doing what they have to do to get the next piece of chocolate. It doesn't work. There's research to back up what I'm saying right now, and I've seen it in action. You have to separate the earning from the learning, but you have to make clear connections to get from one to the other. And that's what Andamio does. What's live at Andamio now is a course platform where people can commit to learning in the very same way that I just showed you over here. People can commit to doing. And they work through a course by completing one module at a time. They earn on-chain credentials for completing those courses. And then those credentials, which are on-chain in Datum, can be validated against to earn contributor credentials. In other words, we could mint this reviewer token or this, where's my tokens? Or this Dandelion contributor token if somebody has completed some learning task. You can see courses right here. The enroll button allows people to enroll on chain in these courses to build up their technical expertise. And then once they have credentials earned from these courses, those go into their on-chain token that allows them to now become contributors and complete this loop. All that I'm showing you right here in this prototype is in the process of being integrated into the Andamio platform so that somebody can see their journey. For some reason with Zoom, I can't click high up on the screen. do it here. So that people can see their journey from being a learner to creating courses if they want to teach other people things, and then to being a contributor. So this is rolling out now. At Gimbal Labs, people have already been playing with this platform. We're rolling it out to a bunch of Catalyst-funded proposals right now who have different things they want to teach. But the critical piece here is that the reason people are teaching things is that they want to give people the opportunity to become contributors to real projects. That's our work in progress. And we think that this plays an important role in what distributed governance can be in this new era. So yeah, more to share here. You can go to Andamio, you can start to play with it. And we will have a getting started course fully published at the start of next week. So people can learn how this works and practice on pre-prod, earning their first credential, so they can really wrap their heads around how that part works. Any questions about that part?
So this website, someone from the community right now can go and enroll into any of these and sort of have a demo. Is that possible? Is that
Yeah, anybody can start learning now.
okay?
And it's so weird. Hold on, let me just
would be-
unshare for a second while I
Yeah, it would be nice to give that the website so I can actually add it to the recording later on when I show this stuff.
This is andamio.io. Okay, andamio is a Spanish word that translates to scaffold. And scaffolding is the educational concept that we're building upon. Okay, so when a teacher talks about scaffolding, they're talking about the concept that eventually the students should no longer need their teacher, right? It's never about a power struggle between students and teachers, even though we've all met teachers who make it that, right? It's really about the teacher equipping students with things so that the teacher becomes irrelevant. And I hope that you can hear kind of the relation to our work here in Cardano, right? We are standing up as a distributed community, not relying on any individual anymore, but relying on each other. And this too must work recursively, right? In any group that comes together, will there be natural leaders? Absolutely. But if those leaders are good, they're going to make themselves irrelevant. They're going to provide scaffolding so that other people can stand up on their own. So that's just a little bit about the word, why we called the platform Andamio. And yeah, people can play with it. Anybody can start to view these courses. The Getting Started course is half done. It'll be finished by next week. Mesh and Plutus PBL have been up for a few months, and we've already got people working through those. Whiskey just went live last week, and right before this meeting, Hinson was giving a demo of this new library. So this list is going to grow. We have a couple other courses in development coming out of Catalyst Fund 12. And if anybody has something that you want other people to understand, let's talk about how to get that on here.
So, James, just a quick one. I know you spoke about contribution being done by one, individuals. Now, later on, is there going to be a way of sort of, maybe you've covered this, but maybe I missed it, but is there a way of making sure that the contribution that one does is actually looked at, that they have actually done it? Like, is there going to be I wouldn't say not guardrail, but like an overview of like, okay, this guy actually is doing what? Because mind you, the effectiveness of this is only if everyone in the community is in the same boat. We're gonna be all, we're gonna be all good boys and girls, and you're gonna do what we say we were gonna do. But you do understand, life is not always like that, right? So people are sometimes, they will say something, and so how do you have a future plan of sort of making that more better, or how does that work?
Oh my gosh, without a doubt. This part is so important. And we touched on this concept, but this is really a point that we absolutely need to dig into more. So I'll use Gimbal Labs as the example, right? Gimbal Labs gets some funding from Catalyst or from Intersect, as we've already done, right? We make a list of work that needs to be done. And let's go with a simple one for now, but we can generalize this. And we say the task is to keep running the Dandelion servers, right? Roberto makes the commitment to do that, and someone else, for example, like I hold a reviewer token right now, so for now it would be me, but it could be anybody, approves and says that work got done. Okay, now there's an on-chain attestation where one person said, I'm going to do it, and another person said, yeah, you did it. Well, now we pull in the audit layer. And we know that lots of people love to audit, right? This is one of the strengths of the Cardano community. We have a lot of people, they might not make their own contributions, but they sure want to make sure that everybody else is being honest. Bring it on, okay? So now anybody in the community comes and says, hey, Gimbal Labs, you said you were going to run Dandelion, but it's been down for the last 3 days, right? And there's this on-chain attestation that so-and-so said they were going to run it, and such said, yeah, they did run it, but as it turns out, you guys were not telling the truth about that. Okay, cool. Now we have this on-chain immutable record of attestations, and we have this public sphere where people can hold each other accountable. And by looking at the summary data, this is why I think the reviewer role might be even more important than the contributor, right? If you're a reviewer who has a proven track record of every time you say something got done and somebody checks your work to audit you, they're happy with what they see. Now we got reputation starting to emerge from there. And if you're the reviewer who keeps just approving without really looking at the evidence, projects that happened, but somebody else looks into the details, they say, wait a minute, that didn't happen. Okay, well, that's another kind of reputation, isn't it? And so now we're going to be able to see, we already have the on-chain record of a history of transactions. That's the trivial part. How do we regularly assess what that record of attestations is telling us? That is the work of a community, right? And it is messy in the sense that it's distributed, right? Like you already know from working at Intersect that there's more happening than you can keep in your head at one time. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's stressful for people at first. It always is, right? I hear that from people who come to this community. I just can't wrap my head around all of it. Do you have to? Pay attention to your part, right?
Yeah.
Do your little part. And in this messy, actually organic way, like truly, right? We are part of nature, and we get to see the same patterns that happen in nature happen in the way we work together. And different things emerge, right? And you start to realize, oh, that review, yeah. Don't believe that organization over there. It turns out they never do the things they said they were going to do. But this one, wow, look at the foundations they're building upon. Look at that track record of success they have.
Got it. And about the reviewer now, before I'll just be a quick one, Simone. I'm just going through the scenario. So a reviewer can also be connected to the contributor in an indirect way. I think you covered this. How, and is that a possibility? And how is that, like, the reviewer is going to be like, okay, well, I know you, and there could be a, do you know what I'm trying to say, James? Like there could be a
100%.
way where, like, well, under the table, I already know you. Like,
oh yeah. Oh, I
so do you
mean,
get,
this is
yeah. So how do we,
grift comes from all angles, and if there's
Yeah.
if there's a place for it, it will, right? And now remember why we're all building on Cardano, right? Cardano does not make more people honest, right? Blockchain has done nothing to fundamentally change, the honesty capacity of humankind, right? But what it does do is it sets up protections against bad actors, and it tries to incentivize behavior that's in the best interest of the whole, right? And that's the best we can do. We can't force behaviors. We can't wave a magic wand and assume that people are going to just wake up and decide to be honest all the time. However, we can create conditions and incentives where if you're acting selfishly, the best path forward is to behave honestly. Okay. And people are going to try to cheat. And people are going to say, well, yeah, you be the contributor, I'll be the reviewer. Let's scratch each other's backs. But the fact of what's actually happening will come out. And so let me just show you a quick example of this. I'm on the pre-prod version of Andamio right now, just because we have a few courses in deployment. And I can't click on the screen because Zoom, not sure why that's happening. But let me just go over here for a second. When a learner, now this will take too long to give this demo, especially with the way screen sharing is working. But I'll just tell you this story. When a learner makes a commitment, they include evidence of that commitment. It could be a sentence, it could be a link to a Git pull request, it could be a link to a video where they gave a presentation and practiced something. Or to protect privacy, it could just be the hash of any information, right? You can hash any file to confirm its veracity, right? That evidence is a critical piece, right? So there is this ability to add that. And now not only is the reviewer looking at that evidence, but now anybody else can go. And again, we can create that audit trail. And at higher and higher levels of scope, right? Eventually somebody is going to ask for millions or hundreds of millions of ADA from the treasury, right? Well, how will we audit that? We're creating a trail right here, right? Here's how people have worked together. Here's the evidence they've provided to show that a commitment to learning or a commitment to doing got done, right? And now we can start to see the emergent behavior there. And anybody who cheats this system, their attestation will be worth less over time.
Got it. Simone, do you have a question? I know your hand's been raised for a while.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I mean, basically, also, if there's, like, if someone doesn't do what they're saying they're doing and the reviewer accepts it at some point, the higher hierarchy level entity that gives the money will see it as well outside of the system, right? So it's not like this is the only way to see if things have been done. But I think this is so exciting because it's and I was thinking about this today about having the treasury in other systems or in like used for other use cases or other organizations or something like that. And I feel like this is such a great tool for governance, almost like building because well, the treasury side of governance is an important part of it. It's like you're building the skeleton of governance here, and then you can add onto it. I can only imagine how interesting it is being in the meetings and talking about all the different possibilities and how you could create that tool.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to bring you into that part.
I'm really curious, where is it? Because you have multiple levels of hierarchies, and like if I send it to someone else, where is the tool deployed? Who deploys the tool? Is it deployed at the top, or does everyone have to deploy it, or like how does that work?
Are we just like on Domio as a tool,
Um,
or
Well,
the
it's-
governance layer?
yeah, I mean, let's say Andamio sends funds to Cardano After Dark. Like, do we both have to deploy the tool?
Good. So we have what we're doing first, and rewinding a little bit, our initial vision was to just build the smart contracts and then to build a template that people could fork and instantiate so they could run their own Andamio. We realized that that was a lot to ask to explain the idea to people in the first place. So we built this platform that's going to be a one-stop shop at Andamio.io to build a course, to create references to that course on chain, to issue credentials, and then to use those credentials in the treasury and contribution patterns that I was just showing you. Okay. However, everything we've built is for a future where this is no longer the only front end, right? We want to provide the working front end so people can understand the concepts and start to use it. And then kind of like Demeter does, provide an eject button, okay? So that you can say, well, I don't actually need your front end anymore. Oh, everything I need is on chain, and I would actually like to use it under my own circumstances, right? So we've built everything on chain to make sure that that eject process is still possible, but we've pushed it down our roadmap a little bit to provide the kind of roll your own template that we initially envisioned, just because we want people to understand the concepts first. Okay.
Great.
On chain, right? Like, so there's a bunch of different courses. Yes, it still doesn't work with Zoom. That's so weird. On chain, even though you're in the Andamio platform, every course is its own entity. It has its own policy ID connected with it. It has its own unique validator where assignments are assessed, right? And the project part happens exactly the same way. A unique treasury address for every instance and a unique validator where the work is actually approved. You said something else too. I'm trying to about. We'll get to it eventually.
Thank you, James. No, this was really insightful, and I really hope we can get this recording out to the community very product. But tonight, I think they'll see what you're. But I know you were gonna show us the screenshot of the other one, the deposit of 65.8 on one of them. Was that?
Yeah.
That yeah. Were you okay? So you once you do that, you will give us the what the place we can actually, so I can add that on the recording.
100%. Yeah, the
So then
link.
people can.
Let me give you the link right here, and I'll ping everybody on Discord as soon as the funds are back here and visible.
Yeah, so absolutely. So let me once we do get this out on the recording on Discord, then I can just sort of add that also.
Beautiful.
So that would be amazing. But cool.
Where's my Zoom?
Thank you, James.
I'm having some struggles with Zoom today. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
Zoom is always a bit of a struggle for a lot of us.
But here's the link. This is the
Okay.
link that I'm
Got
sharing
it.
on the screen, and that's where
Got
you'll
it.
be able to take the full funds in just a
Got it.
moment.
Let me just add this to my notepad. pad. So
It was 1 minute before meeting time, and I was sitting there. I was like, I could get this done. I could get it done. No. You don't need to.
yeah,
You don't need to fat finger something and send 64,000 data to the wrong spot. Let's not do that today.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much, James, for that
Yep.
demo. Definitely looking forward to the future ones of this. Simon, do you have anything to show? I know we're reaching an hour mark, but we have this every other Wednesday. So if you have something quick to show that you're working on, most happy to.
Yeah, definitely not as much as James. Honestly, I haven't prepared for it. I was at first just thinking I'm gonna join in and see what happens here. But if I may, I would like to show you our prototype for C-Poker.
Co-host, maybe that would allow you to share screen. Be able to share screen now?
Mhm.
Yeah. I think you can share screen. Oh, yeah, there you go. Takes a bit of time. Zoom's always a bit. Ah, C-Poker. Just the thing I want to see. Oh yeah. All right, let's go. Decentralized non-consent poker on Cardano. This is what we need.
Well, I mean, I know I'm not sure if I'm hearing sarcasm here because I know a lot of
No, I actually like poker. I'm not. No, not at all. I am actually an avid poker
great.
player,
Yeah,
so I would want to. No, no
a lot of
sarcasm.
people are like, well, it's gambling. We shouldn't have gambling. And there's a lot of, I mean, I agree with the sentiment a lot of the time because there's so many gambling sites on crypto, and I think it's not a good thing because I don't see anything really decentralized yet, which is all the more a reason to build this because I think it's a very interesting technological challenge as well. And also just I like poker. I played poker for a living for a while, and I think it taught me a great deal of things, especially math and statistics. But yeah, let's get to C-Poker. We're building a really decentralized poker application where you're connecting peer-to-peer to your opponents, and through complex cryptography, you can play between each other, and you don't have to trust a single party that is sitting in the middle with its server and has basically access to all the details of the game, the shuffling, your cards, the money, everything really. Like there's some poker websites where you can actually a lot of them already take cryptocurrency, but usually you have to send them the cryptocurrency, and and then then you can play with it, or you can have it in your wallet, but then the application isn't decentralized, and you still have to trust them with the cards and everything. And we want to eliminate all of this. So yeah, this is C-Poker. If you can see the 4 people, our team that is working on this: Patrick, Randall, Jake, and me, Simon. We're all in the IT fields. They're way more technical than I am, and I've been working as an IT consultant. So they're a really, really great team, in my opinion. If you, well, the video is not loading, but I'm sure when you go to the website, you should see the video where Patrick explains a little bit more in depth what happens behind the scenes when you start the application, and we're already a bit further than the proof of concept that we have here. But I'm gonna show you this. So this is our proof of concept, which is hosted at the moment. These are basically 3 clients on one server for showcasing. We have some, obviously some UI elements here already. You can't really do much yet, but what is interesting is when you go to the developer tools, and then we go to the console. You can see all the messages that are being sent between the players. Player 1 sends a message to play onto broadcasts message to the other players, and player 1. And basically what happens, what you can see here, is that they are shuffling the deck. So player 1 or player 0 shuffles the deck and encrypts the deck, and then he gives it to player 1, and then player 1 shuffles the deck and encrypts the deck and gives it to player 2, and he does the same. And this way you can ensure that none of the players are cheating. So
is this concept just for poker, or later on future talk, like, is there other games that you would be putting this in? Blackjack, roulette, crab, like.
Absolutely, with the exception, we're not thinking about any other casino games. We're thinking about maybe, I think craps is like a.
Crabs, yeah.
Maybe that would be interesting. But Randall really wants to have like a Sudoku game that you can play with others together. And then there's this one game I can't remember, which is also competitively played for money, where you throw the dice, right? And then you.
Oh yeah. Dice. Yeah, it's the casinos. You do the dice. What's it called again?
No, it's not a casino game. It's more of a sports game, but people bet on it a lot. Well, anyway, we're thinking about.
Right.
Well, yeah. And maybe not even just games, because I think like what's really cool about this is it's a game that has complex rules. Like the complex rules part is really interesting to me, and you can do a lot of interesting things with that, in my opinion. So here you have the whole cards that are being showed to everyone. So there is not much encryption going on there anymore. But yeah, through complex cryptography, we can make sure that everyone, like at the end, if you send everyone your key, then you can prove you have the cards that you have, and then you can collect the money if you're the winner.
This is amazing.
Yeah, and we used if you read through this whole thing, you can see the Kaleidoscope paper, which has been you can't click it on here, but on the website it's also linked. You can look at the Kaleidoscope paper, which is something that IoT researched a couple years back. That's actually how the whole project got started. So IoT researched a way to do this, and then we went with that into research and development, and created our little proof of concept. By now you can basically play poker on the command line. So
wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're struggling with funding. Our contributors need to work part-time or full-time. Some of them have family. So unfortunately rather slow with development. But hopefully soon you can play the full game. And yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Well, if the community agrees, we can definitely, you know, they have to agree on funding it, and then that's it. We and we can make it happen. But yeah, that's obviously for the community to say. But no, this is amazing. You know what I really like about these sessions is like, you know, it's just amazing what people are working on, amazing ideas that come through, and it just makes these sessions even more rewarding when you kind of see, like, I didn't expect Seek's poker, or, you know, like I was like poker on Cardano. Wow, that's amazing. You know, and
I
the
think
whole
also the part about it is I don't find any completely decentralized poker anywhere.
yeah, you're right. And that's something we gotta look into. But yeah. Well, this is really good. Thank you
Yeah,
very
maybe-
much, guys. Yeah. Is there any other things you want to show? Like,
No,
is there-
maybe
yeah?
not now. I think we've had
Yeah.
we've been
Yeah,
keeping
I
the
know we are well
over
over
an
an
hour,
hour,
but maybe next time.
yeah,
Maybe next time I can.
definitely. I know James's thing was great and it went over, which was
Yes,
I
yes.
think everyone's gonna appreciate that also.
Thanks
That's
for the time, y'all. Yeah, you guys get me going and I don't stop. Sorry about
I
that.
know,
No,
no, it's because we were really enthusiastic about knowing more about yours thing. I know you stopped and then we started asking you questions and you're like, oh, well, let me tell you more. But no, I think the community is going to really cherish what you've shown today, guys, both of you guys. And I think we have this every other Wednesday. So not next Wednesday, the Wednesday after that, we're going to have. So Simon, if you have more to show on that one, you can definitely, you know, you're most welcome, and anyone in the community is welcome. And these sessions to show anything what they have been working and just want to show it on Lamplight. The recording for this will be coming out tonight. I will be downloading it, and then I'll put all the relevant addresses that you guys have shared with me with the recording. But yeah. With that being said, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming. And it was really good to see everything that you guys did today. And I really am looking forward to the next one with you guys coming in. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Toshi. Appreciate it. Simon, congrats on the progress. It's really awesome to see.
Yeah.
Thanks. You've got something nice brewing up here as well. So
Yeah, I agree. No
Be in
worries.
touch. If you don't hear from like Gimbal Labs and Andamio, it's because we're jamming. But if there's ever a reason, if there's people who need to see this, we're happy to be in touch.
great, yeah.
All right. Thanks, team.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
See you next time.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye.